Hi, it's MJ, and welcome to Key to the Keys, a podcast that explores the stories of local residents who have made the islands of the Florida Keys their home. Each week, I'll be sitting down with local business owners and community members who will share their personal journeys of relocating to this stunning destination and offer their unique perspective on what it truly means to live, work, and thrive here in the Florida Keys. So, whether you're considering a move, looking to start a business here in the community, or simply curious about life in this tropical paradise, my hope is that these stories will inspire you to take that bold leap of faith and live the life you want. Hey there, listeners, and welcome back. You are in for a real treat today, especially those who are watching this episode on YouTube, because my guest, Captain Chris Miller of My Coastal Venture, is taking us out on the water. Starting from his home base in Big Pine Key, we embark on a quick 10-minute boat ride out towards the ocean and anchor at what looks like a postcard come to life. A picturesque offshore island with pristine white sand and water so clear you could count individual grains of sand beneath your feet. Before sitting down for our interview, we jump in and head towards the island to explore the shoreline. It's a Monday in March, and there's only one other boat here with us. The shoreline is pristine and untouched, except for a few charming handmade signs left by previous visitors, giving it some Keys flair. And as we explore, we find hidden among the mangroves a swing perfectly positioned over the water, the kind of detail that makes a place like this even more magical. I literally could have spent the entire day here soaking in the sun and floating in these crystal clear waters. And here's the thing about the Florida Keys that most visitors don't realize. While the main islands often lack the sandy beaches people expect, these gorgeous white sand paradises do exist. They're just offshore on secluded islands and sandbars that tourists rarely discover on their own. And that's where Captain Chris's new booking app comes in. My Coastal Venture connects visitors directly with local captains who know exactly where these gems are located, because experiencing the Keys fully means getting out on the water. And no, you don't have to be into fishing to get out on the water. Whether you're looking for sightseeing, snorkeling, sandbar lounging, or sunset cruises, local captains offer it all. Chris's platform makes finding and booking these experiences simple while ensuring captains aren't hit with the massive commissions charged by traditional booking sites. So join me as I talk with Chris, a Maryland native, about his journey from the cold waters of the Chesapeake Bay to the warm waters of the Florida Keys, and how his new venture is helping both visitors and local captains thrive in this unique island paradise. Wow, Chris, you just took us on an awesome boat ride to this beautiful island. And for anybody that's listening on the audio version of this podcast, you should definitely check out the video version on YouTube, because you're going to want to see this beautiful landscape that we have. It's just like picture perfect postcard Florida Keys vibe. Turquoise crystal clear water. We've got an island with beautiful white sand in the background we just toured, and yet you saw in the intro as well. So I'm here today with Chris, and he is a licensed charter boat captain here in the Florida Keys, and he's also going to tell us about his new business venture as well. And so let's just dive right into it. Let's share your story with everybody. What inspired you to come to the Keys? What it's been like living here, and what has inspired you to make a life not only living on the water, but working on the water as well.
So good morning, MJ. Thank you for having myself and also introducing the businesses as well. So first, Real Escape Outfitters for the charter business, and then Coastal Adventures, which is the new business. A little bit about myself. So born and raised in Baltimore, Maryland. So my wife and I decided to move to Florida about 2 years ago just because of this right here, right? So if you look around, you have the beautiful turquoise waters. These beautiful turquoise waters is really what it's all about. It's like being in the Caribbean, but you can drive to it. And a lot of people here don't even realize what you have at your fingertips. When you drive down the A1A to go to the Keys, people think about Key West. They don't think about the inner islands or the islands between Key West and the mainland. It's just a simple life. I mean, it's just, there's things out here that just people don't really realize, and they don't realize you have at your fingertips. I mean, you got a swing over there that people can go hang out on. You have a private island and a private beach. What more could you ask for? So Coastal Adventures, what is it, right? So everybody has seen booking platforms, right? So there's a lot of booking platforms out there, but this booking platform is very unique. What it's doing is it's connecting customers to captains in the Florida Keys, starting in the Florida Keys. And what it's going to wind up doing is keep costs low. So I know a lot of booking platforms have anywhere from a 15 to 30% per transaction commission. Our commission structure is 8.5%. Our goal is not to cut into your bottom line, and when we don't cut into your bottom line, the captain's making more money, the customers are really jiving at the end of the day with the captain, and it's really a win-win for all. It's building a community of captains and tourism in the area. Any specific questions on Coastal Adventures?
Yes, so when did you create this?
So this started back in, I'd say, July of 2024. It's 2025 now, yeah. So 2024. So it's just an idea. I came down for mini season, and I realized the amount of people were looking for charters. And I noticed, I'm like, the amount of people looking for charters, there's nothing out there today that's really marketing this or really pushing this, or like a one-stop shop to connect these customers with these captains for trips like this.
So other than fishing charters, like there was no other platform for, because maybe you're not into fishing, so you're thinking, well, I can't get on a boat here in the Florida Keys. If I don't like to fish, then what's the reason to boat? And there's so much more to do than just fishing. And like you said, you could go lobstering, you can go snorkeling, you could do an eco tour, you could do a sandbar private island tour, a sunset cruise. So it sounds like that was kind of like what sparked it, was there was no, like you said, one-stop shop for just more than just fishing, all the different services and charters that are offered here.
So the crazy thing is, if you look around, right, there's so many out there that tailor towards the fishing industry, because the fishing industry is massive. But there's so much more, as you said, when it comes to the boating down in the Keys. I mean, you have sunset cruises, you have private island tours. How many people just want to come down and go on a boat for a day and go to a white sandy beach and just get away from land for the day?
Yeah.
It's go catch a lobster, just go do something unique and something different that a lot of people don't get to do. It's tailored towards families, couples, really anybody, which makes it even better. It's really opening the market up from all levels.
I think that's really cool. And you were also telling me a really neat feature on your website, the map feature. So tell us a little bit about that, how interactive that is.
So one key feature with the platform that a lot of actually no platform has today, it's a mapping feature. For instance, we are currently at Picnic Island in Big Pine Key. If you go to mycoastaladventure.com and look at the map, you'll actually see a little palm tree on top of Picnic Island. And when you click that palm tree, you'll see photos of exactly where we're at today. And there's also the ability for us to put videos up there too, for customers, captains, for people to actually see that exact location. There's a view listings tab on that actual palm tree for Picnic Island, and it'll actually give you a list of captains that take you to that location. So it's just a reference point. It's giving customers a visual of what's out there today to really help them make a decision on their vacation and show them what's around.
Yeah, I think that's such a helpful feature to have something visual like that, because when people think of the Keys, they think it's a little more consolidated than it really is. And so, I mean, the Keys are 110 miles long, and let's say you're staying in the northern Keys, which is Key Largo, and you're searching for a charter to go out, you're kind of not sure, like, maybe you're going to book a charter with somebody that's like an hour away, and that might be a little inconvenience. I think that map is really cool, because then you can see, like, here I am, and here's all the cool features I could do here on a boat, and here's the captains in that area. I just think that helps, because most people don't, if it's visual for them, I think they could connect a little bit easier with exactly, and get it tailored more to what they're looking for in the area that they're looking for.
So another cool part about the map that eventually is going to take place is, say you have restaurants in that area, you have bait shops, you have different interesting shops. These business owners can advertise with it by actually putting an icon on that map to really tailor it towards the Keys.
Awesome.
So you're really starting towards the sandbar charter piece, but you can also really build on that and make it a one-stop shop for the Florida Keys to really showcase the Keys, showcase what there is to offer down here and what's in the exact location you're staying in.
Yeah, I think that's a game changer right there, and makes it stand out from the other apps. And like I was asking you, there are, and I know people are aware that there are other booking charter websites out there, and I know you kind of spoke of it a little bit, but what makes your website, your app, different and better for not only the consumer but also for the captains that are going to be on,
So the
services?
The biggest benefit to being a captain on this platform is your cost structure, right? So we're not taking out of your bottom line. It's free to advertise like all these other platforms are, but we're not taking a 15 to 30% commission. We're taking 8.5. 8.5 is very marginal compared to 15 to 30. That's a lot of money that's coming out of your pocket per trip. And I know a lot of these companies out there today are looking at that as yes, they have a high overhead, but when you don't have a big overhead, you try to keep the costs down. You just want to build a community and make it worth for everybody. So it's really about keeping the dollar in your pocket versus outside. Yeah,
and when you, as a charter boat captain, when you connect with a local business, so you as a charter boat captain are making, a better profit, and then whatever that percentage is going, it's going to a local person, yep, a local business, and it's keeping it within the community, which I think is really awesome because we all support each other down here. Like, it's really, really crucial. Yes, we thrive on tourism, but it's also really crucial in those 3 to 4 slow months that we're, yep, all contributing to each other and each other's businesses to keep us afloat in those really slow times. And it's all word of mouth down here too. And yeah, like you said, just building that community it's going to be a great thing for a lot of people.
You keep it local, you build a community, and you build on it, right? So it's really about building that network for everybody. Mm-hmm. And if you keep that community within the Keys, right, you're just building a tight network of people for that location.
Yeah. How was it breaking into the charter boat business down here? How long have you been in the Keys, you said?
So my wife and I have been down the Keys off and on for the last 4 years. I've been down the Keys the last 2 years, just about every other week, roughly. So it's been steady. So I've had a handful. Things were slow in the beginning. Things started to pick up as you start get word of mouth out there, right? So it's just really about making a name for yourself and sticking behind that name, yeah, and always having good customer service. So customer service is key. Looking out for your clients, looking out for your customers, and always doing what's right at the end of the day.
So you feel like just word of mouth was the best way to network and get your name out there? Did you do any advertising or social media campaigns?
So a lot of social media campaigns. I've also leveraged Beach Dollar, Tim Freeman, so he's been a huge help in that as well. He's very good to work with, so I don't know if you know him or not.
I don't, but it's the Visit the Florida Keys Facebook page, yeah.
He's very popular on those pages, right? Mm-hmm. So he built his business based on the advertising part. And he's actually helped with the coastal adventures and the real escape by helping with the business end.
That's
from
awesome.
The marketing side. So huge help on that end.
Yeah, so connecting with the right people.
Yep. And keeping it going, right? So it's really about helping each other out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, full circle for sure. Yeah. So you're still off and on, you're not here completely full time.
Yep.
When you are here full time, what has been has there been anything that was a little more interesting that you didn't think about, when you were just coming here on vacation, and when you switched to coming here more full time, was there anything that kind of shocked you that you were like, I didn't realize that about the Florida Keys?
I would say really getting to know the waters, right? So any location you go to, the water's going to be different. And as anybody in the Florida Keys knows, once you start going towards the backcountry, there's a lot of spots that you need to know where you're going. Mm-hmm. If you don't know where you're going, you can cause problems with your boat or cause safety issues very, very quick. So really just spending the time and getting to know the water. Okay. And once you get to know the water, you still got to be cautious, right? Use your eyes, use polarized lenses, just really pay attention. I mean, that was the biggest thing down here. Everything else seems to fall in place.
Yeah. Now, this was my first purchase moving to the Keys with polarized glasses, because literally it makes all the difference to see, because it's shallow water, so you're needing to see the variance of the ground, like the sand versus the rock versus the, these help.
use your eyes to your advantage, right? So just because it looks shallow, it may not be shallow, or it could be very shallow. You just got to pay attention.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing. And keep your head on a swivel, because you just never know.
Yes. And like you said, the water varies from island to island, from section to section of the Florida Keys, which is kind of fun too, because it offers something totally different. You go 30 minutes one way, 30 minutes the next way, and have two totally different adventures.
100%. That's the best part about it. And there's so much to do down here that a lot of people don't realize.
Yeah. Well, let's showcase a little bit about Big Pine Key, since that's where you're based out of. What do you feel is the highlight of this area for the Florida Keys?
I would say lobstering is key. So lobstering seems to be very good in this area. Especially nighttime as well. So bully netting is a lot of fun, especially we do a lot of that with our neighbors as well for fun on top of the charters. And really the sandbars in the backcountry. So you've got very, very unique sandbars down here that a lot of people don't realize. Some of the hurricanes in the past have actually created sandbars that people don't know of, that we call local sandbars. You have your well-known sandbars like Content, going to Snipes, further towards down Key West, but it's just the backcountry. There's a lot of unique things about Big Pine that a lot of people don't realize. They call it the Redneck Island, but it's an awesome island. Wouldn't trade it for the world.
Yeah, it is pure. It's like the country of the Keys. There's even key deer that roam around wild, and they're literally miniature white-tailed deer. I'm from Missouri, so I'm familiar with a huge white-tailed deer, and it's really kind of still bizarre for me to see these little key deer walking around, and even they swim from island to island. They've really adapted to the nature and the different environment down here. So
they survived Hurricane Irma, which is impressive. And one thing, just make sure when you're driving on the roads, do the speed limit, because FWC is looking.
Yes, they are very, very, very protected. They're endangered. The speed limit, you obey that speed limit when you're in Big Pine Key
100%.
Because they will write you a ticket. And the deer do cross the road, so you do have to be very cautious. But yeah, you just pull down any side street, and they're just hanging out in people's front yards. And
don't feed them. Do not feed them, because that's one thing you can't do. Because what'll happen is you'll create almost a common theme for them to always look for that handout.
Yes.
And you don't want that. You want to keep them in the environment, let them go out and wander and do what they do best.
Yep. Just admire them from a distance, and let them be one with nature and not expect, like you said, a handout from humans. But I know that's really hard with some people.
I would agree 100%. It's crazy what you see.
Because even the crocodiles, we do have crocodiles in the Keys, and I always tell people they're not a threat until humans make it a threat. They are scared of you until you start feeding them, and then they're going to associate you with food, and whether it's your hand or a piece of, a fish, they don't know the difference. They're going to.
Well, that's the biggest thing. Don't provoke them.
Yeah.
Leave them in their environment, and they will leave you alone.
Yeah.
The second you start going after them, then you have bigger problems, just like a shark.
Just like a shark, yeah.
Same concept. Just leave them alone.
Yeah.
Don't try to feed them.
I know a lot of people are scared of the waters because they're like crocodiles and sharks, and I'm like, as long as you respect them and you give them their space, and you're not feeding them and you're not chumming the waters, like, they have no reason to want to investigate you or bother you. And so I never have any fear of what's in the water.
Well, that's the thing, is I was out lobstering this morning. There's a little baby nurse shark, and if you don't mess with them, they don't mess with you. So if you see one, just go the different direction.
Right.
So it's not that hard.
So what's your plan for, are you planning on moving down full time, or?
Eventually.
Yeah.
Once we get some things up and running and work out some details, that's ultimately the end game goal.
So you feel like this is your permanent home?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's how can you not get tired of, or how can you get tired of this, right? It's just beautiful. Even on a cloudy day, it just never gets old.
Were you hooked the first time you visited here?
Oh yeah. I told my wife when she bought the place in Big Pine that she created a monster. So, and now she's realizing that.
And she loves it just as much?
She does. She loves the sandbars. She won't do as much lobstering and all, but she loves just going on like a little beach like this.
Yeah.
Going out and hanging out by a swing and just making the most of it.
So how did your wife and you choose Big Pine Key to be your home base?
So back during COVID, when the market in the Keys was booming and interest rates were low, we actually were looking at all different locations, but what we liked the most about Big Pine is the moratorium for building.
Okay.
There's only so much building that can take place in the Keys, or actually Big Pine, and I know the other islands probably have that as well. But something about Big Pine just kept us coming back with the key deer, the location. It just seemed like home to an extent, right? And then once we found where we're at today, it's really home, because we got a lot of Marylanders on our street from where we're from.
Okay.
Which is even cooler, because you would think that you wouldn't have that kind of connection close to home down here, but it's almost like bringing a piece of paradise from where you're from down to here as well to make it even better.
Yeah. No, I always tell people I love where I live on Long Key. I don't think I could live anywhere else, but I have a crush on Big Pine Key, because I do. I love the country. I grew up in the country. Like I said, it just reminds me of the country in the tropical setting. And you're right. There's a lot of protected land on Big Pine Keys.
Yep.
So to what's built there might not be a little bit more to be built upon, but not a lot, like compared to maybe Marathon or some of the other keys where there's not that nature reserves and environmentally protected areas and whatnot. So I think it'll stay country.
Let's hope.
Yeah.
And another cool feature about Big Pine is your rentals are 30-day minimum, right? So it keeps some people out, some people in, right? Just depends on what kind of clientele want to come down and rent for a month.
Yeah.
But you also get a lot of people that come down every year, because what they do is they plan for coming down, same location, renting the place for the entire 30 days. And there's a lot you can do in 30 days. I mean, I've even had it before guiding for people that are down here for 30 days, and they don't know where to go, what to do, what to look for, and then you help coach them in the right direction, and they have a field day.
Yeah.
It's just a whole different world.
Yeah.
Every time that I leave to go back to my northern Florida house, it gets harder each time.
And you said St. Augustine.
St. Augustine area.
is the area that is your other home, and so it's getting harder to go back up there.
Every time.
Yeah.
Every time, because there's so much to do down here. It's just sun up to sundown. I'm doing something on the water every day. It's just, if you see the boat gone, you know I'm out doing something, probably catching dinner. But
no, you can literally live, work, and play on the water every day of the year. And I think that's what draws people here. And I tell people a lot, like, if you don't like the water, the Keys might not be for you.
100%.
You don't have to like to fish. You don't like to have to dive. You don't even have to like a boat, but you have to like the water. Like, you have to be able to want to be outside and eat by the water. Maybe go kayaking or paddleboarding, or, hang out at the beach. But there's not a lot of indoor activities that you can do.
The Keys are meant for the outdoors, the people that want to be outside doing things. And I can say from experience that some of my best charters have been sandbar charters, lobster trips, just because you have that camaraderie, right? Between the families and going out and doing things and just showing people a side of things that they never thought was here.
Yeah.
Like, they thought they would have to go to a different island in the Caribbean to go see. It's all right here at your fingertips.
Yeah. And do you feel it can be an easy transition for somebody to move from Maryland down to the Keys, or do you feel it's kind of a culture shock?
For me, I think it would be easy, but I think some people that aren't water crazy to an extent, right, it could be tough, because you have to adapt. It's a different way of life. It's simple. It's the simple life. You don't need massive homes or a lot of things, right? So it's the simple life. Anything anybody could ask about it, it's the simple life. It's just low-key, down to earth. What do you want to get into that day? It's awesome.
Yeah. Another thing I always say is that your life starts to revolve around the sun, the tide, the moon, the wind. You don't realize it until all of a sudden you're in it and you're like, oh, I'm really like basing my day, planning out my calendar based around the weather, based around Mother Nature. She controls our way of life down here.
It's funny you say that, because I already do that when it comes to fishing, daytime sword fishing, lobster, anything like that, right? I'm looking at the moon. What phase of the moon is it? When's the moon rise? When's the moon set? When's the sun coming up? What are the tides doing? Just different things that go through your head now that you never thought you'd pay attention to.
Yeah, even if you're not fishing, like, but if you're wanting to go to the beach or go to a sandbar, like when I asked you what time should we be doing this interview for the podcast, because I know we wanted to come to this island, and you know, based on the tides, sometimes you might not have a lot of sand, sometimes you might have a ton of sand, and again with like going to restaurants too, like if you want the sunset, you've got to plan it around then, what time of the year. Watching the moon rise out of the ocean, you're planning that. So it's a lot, even if you're not, like I said, just part of the boating scene, even just
the wind direction.
Where you're going to eat based on the wind direction.
So you could have a strong north wind, and I'm not going to go in the backcountry because it's going to be rough back there. I can come on the front side of the island. If it's a strong south wind, I'll do the complete opposite.
Yeah.
But you can literally boat year round and find calm water. That's
so
the best.
true.
That's the best part.
Yeah, you can get around it and hide in different sides of the island and whatnot, and then have the variety of offshore and inshore, and it can really appeal to so many people. So
it's either you're going to love it or hate it, one of the two.
There's really no in between. So what's the plan? What do you see the big vision for Coastal Adventures?
So my goal now is I've got the site up and running. The mobile app should be out very shortly. We're running into a couple issues with Apple and Google right now for uploading the app. So once that comes out, just continue to market for awareness and really just keep growing the brand and getting people on board. Because I believe once people start seeing the benefit of it and actually start using it, it should take off. It's just a matter of time. You got to be consistent with it. Just keep pushing forward.
Yeah, consistency is key
100%.
for sure. And so how can people get a hold of you? Let's say they are local and they want to become part of the app. They are a charter boat business and they would like to put their services on their app. How do they get a hold of you for that? As well as how does the consumer and the public give us all the information where they can find you for your charters and find the app to book a charter?
So either you can call me directly at 443-504-3402, which is a Maryland number still, have not changed that over, or you can go to mycoastaladventure.com with no S. And on that site, there's a register now button as a guest for a customer or as a captain. So if you're a captain, you have to provide the same documentation as you would for any of the other platforms to prove that you're a legitimate captain or business. So what will happen is after you submit your information to us, we actually approve the account on our end. Then you can go create your profile and start creating your listings. Once you submit your listing, the listing does not automatically go live. We actually tweak it on the back end to make sure that it's A, legible, B, makes sense based on location, how things are set up, and make sure it's going to work. Once we know that all that's taken place, then we approve it, it's live. It's usually about a 24-hour turnaround when it comes to something like that, but it's usually pretty quick. So as far as a customer standpoint, you can look us up on Facebook. So we got My Coastal Adventure on Facebook and Instagram, also YouTube and TikTok. You have the website, mycoastaladventure.com with no S. And from a charter standpoint, it's Real Escape Sport Fishing or Real Escape Outfitters, based on how you look it up. So the website is resportfishing.com, or just call Captain Chris directly at 443-504-3402.
Excellent. And I'll make sure to put all that in the show notes and the video description, so we'll put all your links. It'll be super easy for you to connect. And yeah, before we go, is there anything else you'd like to share with everybody? Something that they really should know, like what's the one thing people should know about the Keys, or what's one thing that you absolutely love about the Keys that you'd love other people to know?
So the Keys are something that a lot of people don't realize are really here, just besides Key West, right? You have all these different barrier islands and little islands in between that people don't know about. If it were me going on vacation with the family, that's what I would want to go do, right? To go explore, see what the local life is about. And we'd be more than happy to show it to you. That's what we love the most.
Awesome. And any tips for somebody looking to move here?
get to know the water, get to know the area, and get to know the laws. So pay attention to all three of those things and you'll be fine.
Simple.
Very direct.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to take the listeners and I on this awesome adventure out here to Picnic Island to showcase the beautiful nature that we have here. And I'm super excited for your business to take off. I know it will. I know it's much needed and it's just totally unique and it's going to really help people locally and visitors alike. So
thank you for having us.
Yeah.
We really appreciate it, MJ.
My pleasure. Well, that's all for today's adventure. Thank you so much for tuning in. And if you enjoyed this insider's perspective, make sure to subscribe for more local interviews that give you the real scoop on living in the Florida Keys. Whether you're planning your next vacation or considering making this paradise your home, remember what you've seen today. The true magic of the Keys happens when you get out on the water. And great news, my Coastal Adventure app is now live. It's simple, straightforward, and connects you directly with local captains who know all the secret spots most tourists never find. Download it today and start planning your authentic Florida Keys experience. Until next time, this is MJ signing off from Paradise. See you on the water.